entered into, but we have not yet exited, either been stopped out with a loss or exited with a gain. Our first is an ESRX using strategy number 4. Once again, we went long on the 18th on Monday at 48.39. Here's our setup bar circled in blue, telling us that we can go long, and we traded one tick above, so we entered at 48.39. Here's our two options to place our stop. Once again, you'll learn all this in the video library. And you'll learn where to place your exit, which in this case is at 49.50. So as you can see, once we entered, it looked like we were going to get stopped out actually at stop placement number 1, but we've kind of hovered and kind of bounced back. And on paper, we have roughly about a 50 or 60 cent gain here, but we're kind of just sitting and waiting. Now, if we start to see on Monday that we're moving up to these levels, we will move this stop to unchanged at 48.39. Hopefully, we'll get a rally and we will exit the entire position here at 49.50 for a little over a point profit. Our next trade is an ARG, once again with strategy number 4. We went long on the 20th, on Wednesday, at 70.05. Here's our setup bar. We're looking to go long with this setup bar. It meets all of the rules to go long. Firstly, we're above the buy-sell line, so we're only looking for a buy setup bar. But it meets all of our rules and all of our qualifications. None of these bars were qualifications to go long except for this one. So once we trade above the high of the setup bar, we can enter, and we did at 70.05. And as you can see, this trade has really been going sideways. On paper, we have like about an 8-cent gain, so nothing really is happening in this particular stock. We're either going to get stopped out or we'll exit roughly with a 60 or so cent gain. This is a very quick trade, usually in strategy number 4 trades usually last anywhere from 1 to 3 days. As you can see, we've already been in this trade for 3 days, so we're hoping that we get a nice rally here. If this doesn't seem to pan out and nothing seems to be going on for the next day or two next week, we'll probably move the stop to unchanged just to get out because, as I said, strategy number 4 trades should be complete and over with in the next 1 to 3 days. Our next trade was in CVS. Now, this was a combination of strategies number 1 and 4. We decided to use this and look at this through the eyes of strategy number 1. We went long on the 21st, yesterday, Thursday, at 31.18. And this trade on paper is doing all right. As you can see here, we're above the buy-sell line. And with strategy number 1, we only use one indicator, which is our Johnson channel, our proprietary Johnson channel setup. And so this is telling us to go long, because all the Johnson channels are moving in the same upward stair-step direction. And now we must look for a proper setup bar. None of these bars here meet the rules for a proper setup bar except this one. This is our setup bar. If we trade one tick above, you have the option to go long, which we did at 31.18. So we're long here. We placed our stop here under the rules of strategy number 1. And strategy number 1 now calls for our exit to be once price touches the high Johnson channel. This is where we'll exit. And that's roughly around 32.50, 32.55. So we're just simply waiting. Either we're going to get stopped out with a loss down here, or we're going to rally up to these levels. Now, if we get somewhere up in these levels up here, roughly around the 70% range, we will move our stop to unchanged. And now our next and last trade here that's still outstanding is an LH. Once again, combination of strategies number 1 and 4. We went long on the 22nd, which was today, at 78.29, and this is a nice trade on paper, but we still do not have any realized gains yet. Once again, we're above the buy-sell line. Even though price intersected and went below, the rule states that you cannot go long unless you are above the buy-sell line. So here's our setup bar. Out of all these bars, none of these bars were proper setup bars except for this one. So this means that we could go long if we enter one tick above, if price trades one tick above, which it did. We're above the buy-sell line, so this is a valid strategy number 1 signal. We entered at 78.29, placed our stop just below the sell-off here, this little sell-off. And now we're waiting for price to rally and touch the top Johnson channel, which would be roughly around 80.80 level. Okay? So we'd get a nice couple of points out of this if this continues to go higher, which is looking nicely right now. On paper, we have roughly about a point or so gain, but we know it doesn't mean anything. The only way we can lock in that is if we see price come up to these levels, in which case, once again, we'll move our stop to unchanged. So those are our 4 outstanding trades. Let's recap what we did this week. Now, we only had 4 trades. 3 were long, 1 was short. We had, out of those 4 trades, 2 were winners, 1 was a loser, and 1 was a break-even because we moved our stop to unchanged. So as you can see, as we showed you in the beginning of this presentation, we had kind of a flat week where we're going up and then down, and then we've kind of gone sideways for the past 3 days, and it was perfectly reflected in our P&L. We only made half a point for this week. Now, that is what we're all about, though. We're not about hitting these home runs. We're about teaching you consistency in the market. If you go back and look at all of our trades that we've posted on the website and that we've taken for the stock market in the past month of October, you'll see that we had 17 actual trades. 12 were winners. We only had 4 losers and 1 break-even, which we had this past week. So you can see that's the consistency we're looking for. Some weeks may be better than others. Some months may be better than others. We may have some losing months. But we're looking for this consistency. Out of the 17 trades that we've posted and given for you in this month of October, 12 were winners. So we're looking for this consistency. We're not looking for home runs. We're not looking to make 500% each month. We're not looking for that. We're looking for this nice upward bias in your P&L. That's the only thing that will sustain you as a trader. Not having some strategy or system that gives you 500% per year. That won't sustain you because those things can just as easily turn around and they can blow up. The only thing that will sustain you is consistency. And that's what we're teaching at Specialist Trading. The best way to do that is to pick 1 or 2 strategies that you feel comfortable with. Go to our video library. There's numerous strategies there to choose from. We teach you all the rules, the exits, the entries, and the stop placement, as well as some discretionary points. And then pick one that fits well with your personality. Once you pick 1 or 2, then study them in the video library and then begin to paper trade. Do not commit any capital yet. Then once you paper trade, either for a day or a week or even a month, then it's okay to begin trading. That's the process in which we want you to go through. Our edge here is consistency. And once we teach that to you, no one will be able to take that away, and you'll have this for the remainder of your trading career. Now, if you have any questions concerning this weekly stock recap or anything on the website in our video library, please do not hesitate to email me at stephenprimo@specialisttrading.com. Lastly, in closing, we ask you to take one last look at our disclaimer. I showed you a lot of performance results from this past week, talked about the performance results from this past month. But remember, we can in no way guarantee that any results we talked about or showed you will be repeated in the future. So as you're taking one last look at our disclaimer before we close, I want to thank you once again, and as always, should you have any questions, do not hesitate to email me at stephenprimo@specialisttrading.com. Have a great weekend, a relaxing one. Do some studying. Go to the video learning section and learn the strategies. We'll see you right back here next week. Bye-bye.